Hey there, everyone. Welcome on to VG Emporium, video game music and more. I'm your host, Rage Cage, and to note, if my voice sounds a little funny, I have toilet paper stuck up my nose because it's allergy season. Fun time. So that's a great opening way to say I have a guest in VG Emporium. What's more, and it is a returning guest, and you know him very well, most likeliest.
Sure, I would like to do that. My name is Pernell. I am co-host of the Rhythm and Pixels VGM podcast. Currently on hiatus, but not dead, just sleeping.
I know you guys have been busy. Rob moving and you having a lot of like life stuff going on.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, like, me coming on here now, if I didn't get on here today, next week would have been even tougher because a lot of what I'm dealing with is like reaching a crescendo point where it's like, shoot, we gotta figure this whole thing out. Without going into crazy specifics, actually, I can go into specifics just about making a whole story out of it. My mom's got stage 4 cancer, and I've been one of the two caregivers for her, the other being my older brother. But you'd be amazed by how much I've had to do, and she's not even home. She's at a freaking rest home facility right now, but that's going to change next week, at which point we are trying to figure everything out.
Wow.
Because it's going to be a very tough time. But keeping high spirits, and I am doing my thing, and it's been a ride, to say the least. But I will tell you this, believe it or not, I'm not a religious man, but if I were going to be, this would have been the thing that brought me there, because I got a new job. I may have mentioned it on Rhythm and Pixels, but I got a new job 1 month before this whole thing hit the fan, and that job gave me the finances and the flexibility to do what I have to do in all of this. Whereas if I didn't have that job and I had my old job, it would have been bad. Real bad.
So just serendipitous.
It really was.
Wow.
So I have been extremely grateful for that, and I have been putting it to good use, believe me. So, but I have been getting my video games in when I can. I haven't given up the ghost. At least the VGM anyway. I still bop.
Oh yeah, no, you can't. That's sometimes that's the one thing that gets you through, like, a lot of this hard stuff, you know, like, definitely I can say that for myself.
Yeah. So, before we get into the nitty-gritty of this whole thing, what have you been gaming on lately? Where have you been getting some time? We haven't gotten to chat much recently.
Well, as you may have remember from a month ago when I was saying I was on the fence of getting a certain game called Nier Automata, and I think some words from you and Kung Fu Carlito finally made me get it, and I was pretty much just stuck on that for the whole month. I just got the final main ending yesterday.
Yeah.
60 hours in. I pretty much completed almost all the side quests. I have 2, and then I have to get a lot of like the side stuff, like intel, like enemy information, weapons, all this stuff. And but now I'm giving that a break, and am playing Records of Lodoss War, Deedlit in Wonder Labyrinth.
Oh, that'll be a good palate cleanser for you. Great game, and also very short.
Yeah, it's like I'm really liking the visual style of it. Like, it's really nice, pretty pixels. I'm kind of liking the system so far.
If I remember correctly, it does something similar to what Outland or Ikaruga would do, where you can switch between colored bullets.
Yeah. Yeah, you switch between different magics that you get, like different spirits. So like I've got Sylph, which is like a wind spirit, which gives you the ability to hover and wind power, and I can't remember the name of the fire one, but you get fire, and that gives you the ability to set things on fire or blow up barrels, fun stuff. And then you get a bow and arrow that you can do directional shooting with, and it can bounce off surfaces and stuff.
But there's also a projectile immunity, right?
I haven't gotten that far yet. I'm only really kind of just explored the initial area and haven't really.
I have to double back and check. But either way, the game's that system of switching between the 2 spirits is pretty awesome.
Yeah, and then aside from that, I've been going back and forth with World of Horror still. Going back to that one because
I need to get on that damn game.
It is fun because it is the way how it works is you go through you pick your character, or depending on how you want to play it, you either get it randomized or pick your character, pick your backstory, and then pick your elder god that you want to have as like your overarching like big bad, or not big bad, but thing that you have to stop. And then you go through investigations, like mysteries, and they're randomly picked, but you can shuffle them. But once you pick one, you're stuck with those 5 mysteries. And then there are events that happen while you're doing this mystery, and they kind of are either set with that mystery, or they're influenced by which elder god you choose. And then you get, as you play through, you unlock achievements by doing certain, like, certain things. Like, so you beat the game a certain amount of times, or you did this one very particular thing through, like, this one mystery or event because you did this other thing. You unlock achievements, which then unlock items, more characters, eventually more gods, and all these things. So it's like kind of, you're progressing, or I don't know how to explain it, but
it's got roguelike vibes to it, where you unlock new content for the game in future runs.
Yeah, and it's really interesting. And there's going to be future updates, I believe, for like some extra modes and stuff. But so far, I'm really enjoying it, and I've been thinking about getting it for Steam because there's people actually making mods for it, like new enemy encounters, new events, eventually new mysteries too. So it's crazy.
Okay, well, maybe I need to talk to you to get caught up in that thing. I know between you and the wise guy. It is like a top tier title.
Yeah, it is.
And I did buy it, and I did attempt to start it, but I got that mental sidetrack thing going on. I was like, I'll come back later, and then I just didn't.
Yeah, it's a really good one to just sit down. Like if you have an hour to kill, just get in there, because usually a playthrough for like the medium difficulty, hour and a half, depending on how slow.
And
you
I can
take
still do the
things,
intro question. Was the scissor lady or?
Yeah, that's just like kind of that's one of the mysteries. And yeah, it just kind of gives you an idea how some things work, and then you have the, I think there's like quick play, which kind of gives you a, like 3 mysteries on the second difficulty setting.
Okay.
And then you have your custom play, and then randomized, and then you get, and it's just a fun one to go back to every once in a while if I need a, kind of quick, just thrown away type thing.
That's what I like to hear. And I'm glad to hear you're still getting your game on. I'm glad to hear that you got a lot of love out of that Nier Automata. I'd have been sad if you were like, you recommended this game to me. What a steaming pile of rabbit. What's that noise you make when you get swears in there? I just wanted to try to throw it in there. But yeah, like I always like when people are like, that game you suggested, it's good. Thank you for giving me a good tip. So
I liked it. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
That's what's up. And now I'm playing, like right now for me, I think I'm playing Unicorn Overlord. And then my favorite game, the Steam Shop.
The Steam Shop?
That is my favorite game. I hate that it's my favorite game, but it is. It's a very expensive game that has 0 playtime. It's all menu browsing.
Oh, jeez.
It's losing of funds. But there are games. It's like I have so many items of potential right now that I could like make a list of. I almost want, when we come back to Rhythm and Pickles, I almost want to do an episode on games that I bought. My Steam addiction has found me, or we can name it after that one show, My Big Bad Steam Addiction.
My Big Bad Steamy Addiction.
I'm sold. So
yes.
But I love how this whole episode is just going to be us talking about random catch-up stuff. There was a topic at some point, but I don't know. We're not selling anything today. The store's closed. It's Easter Sunday.
This is after hours. We're hanging out. We're just having a fun time with each other.
That's right. But be careful of the mall guard dog. He doesn't mess around.
Mall guard dog?
Yeah. You know, those jerks, they set them loose in the aisles and just let them do what they want to do. They just come up to the door.
You got to throw meat. You got to throw meat against the wall, and they'll just like, whoa, go after it.
Well, if you throw it against the wall, they're going to smash into the wall for the meat.
Yeah, sounds like something that would happen in a kind of a particular thing that we are talking about today, sir.
Mm-hmm. That is true.
It could happen. It probably has happened. And for folks that are wondering, that would be anime.
Anime.
No mystery.
Yeah.
Animal anime. You know, I'm pretty sure that happened in Wolf's Rain, right? Like, Wolf blasts through a wall because it's, some like Wolf Shonen. Good stuff.
Wide Wager was a comedy trope too, like a cartoon comedy trope. So American cartoons have done it. I'd wager some anime has done the whole distract the dog with meat.
It has happened.
But this episode is going to be anime with a video game tie-in. But I guess it might be worth asking before we even get started. Can you think of a favorite anime you have that does not have a game component, or at least you didn't think about that game for this episode?
Well, one I would say is technically Big O, because it was featured in, I think, Robot Wars, but it doesn't have its own dedicated game.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd kind of like to, that would have been like a cool game to have, like, because it's noir setting, you have big robots, So I can kind of see it going.
And Batman.
Yeah, I can see it kind of going back
like,
and forth between like playing as Roger Smith, doing like kind of I don't know, whatever he does as some.
Did he do like detective? That's why people refer to it like Batman, because I thought he did like detective
he's
type
like a
work sometimes.
lawyer / kind of like taking care of jobs type person. But then of course he has Big O, and he summons it and the big epic theme and everything. But yeah, that'd probably be one.
O.
Yeah,
that's a good one to choose, and that's come up recently in dialogue as well.
It's been actually interesting to watch, like kind of just see Big O coming up and like this is like, oh yeah, people do like this.
Yeah, I think it got canceled well before its time.
Oh yeah. Now, Pernell, I gotta know, what is this that we are hearing? I have never heard of this anime or this game.
So, this anime is called Eyeshield 21, and the game is called Eyeshield 21 Field no Saikyou Senshi Tachi. This was released on the Nintendo Wii, and it was composed by Manabu Namiki. The track is titled, quote-unquote, I don't know, potentially titled, Damon Devilbats, which is the name of the football team that the main character plays for. Football team. That's right, because this is one of those sports animes. You know the type.
American football?
American football, not that soccer one. Though with that said, I'm sure there's tons of soccer anime too. Like it was like Inazuma 11 or whatever.
What?
But so this is interesting because I don't like most sports, including football. But I came across this show on a whim one day. And I immediately became addicted to it and watched the living daylights out of it until I just kind of got tired of it and stopped looking for new episodes. But the premise is a kid whose name is Sena, who is kind of a bookworm nerd type, gets picked on, you know the deal, yada, yada, yada. And he discovers that he has a knack for running because he learned how to run by way of finding patterns to juke bullies. Which is just hilarious in its own right.
Oh,
so a guy that runs, he's like the quarterback. I'm sorry, either the quarterback or the coach. I can't remember what his position is, but basically, he's a part of the football team for his high school. He notices this and brings him on to play football for the school. But he's worried about people finding out that he's playing football, and also he doesn't feel like he'd be a very intimidating football player, so the guy gives him a visor helmet.
Eyeshield.
And he takes on the name of Eyeshield 21 because his number is 21. It's an interesting show. And the thing I like about it, as corny as this is going to sound, because I feel like a lot of actual football fans would hate it, but it over-dramatizes everything about the sport to the point where it's just absurd. Like, his whole thing is that he runs extremely fast. They do these animation pans where he's got like speed lines going behind him. He's like dashing, and they have the announcer talking up this whole storm about, oh my God, he's running so far. And then they have a guy do his whole animation where he yanks him up and grabs him and throws him back, which would be an illegal play in actual football, but not in this show.
It's all fair.
He grabs him up, yanks him, and after all is said and done, he's run 5 yards. It's like they make it look like he ran the damn field, but he went 5 yards. And then they all had their.
Oh, that's actually kind of true to the actual game, I guess.
Really?
I don't know. I don't watch. I don't really watch football. I watched this last Super Bowl mostly because my dad was hanging out with my dad and my wife's dad, and they liked football. So I was like, okay, let's do it. Hang out with our dads. Watch football. Why not?
Well, for someone who hasn't watched this show, the best equivalent I could say is a Dragon Ball Z fight on a football field, and that gives you the idea of how long matches run and how much they stretch a single play.
Oh, no.
But it's stupidly entertaining for me, and I was obsessed with it. It got me to want to start running.
Okay.
And for a while, I was actually been trying to run through the park and get my speed up, and I had the soundtrack playing in my headphones, the whole shebang.
Nice.
I was weebing the hell out. There's your title tie-in. Boom. But yeah, I was weebing the hell out to this show. It was fantastic. I love it. Love it. I still love it, actually.
So I'd imagine the game itself is pretty much just that. Like, it's arcade football type thing, I'd imagine?
Good question. Couldn't tell you. All Japanese, and I don't have it.
Move on.
But I learned about it because, oddly enough, I had an episode of this show of Rhythm and Pixels years ago called Sound-alike games.
Yeah.
And I stumbled across this OST, and there's a track in this game that sounds extremely similar to a track in Memories of Celceta. So much so that it was a bona fide sound alike. Turns out it's the same composer on both games.
Oh, dang.
So
okay.
I was like, that'll do it.
There you go. Yeah, because
So-
I was gonna say, this sounds like something Falcom. It sounds Pernell. It's got the guitars. It's got the synth. It's got just the rock organ in there.
Oh, I love it. I love the OST for this game. Never played it, but that OST is a bop. It goes against everything I stand for to listen to an OST for a game I haven't played, but I'm starting to do more and more of that lately.
That's a lot of what I listen to is just like music from games that I never played, or I go to play that game because I found that music first and I was like, ooh, this sounds interesting. I'm gonna play this game. Okay, the game's not as interesting, but the music, I'm gonna stick with that.
Now that's the norm. That's normally what I would do if I find the OST and I like it. I'm like, let me go try to play this game, but it doesn't always work out that way. But I'm not going to just deny myself auditory entertainment.
Oh yeah.
Because of not playing or liking the game at which it hails from. So screw that noise. Tachi no Sendhi, whatever they call it.
What? I don't know.
I just made that up. Ramalama ding dong.
Pernell making up words. This is
Some
truly,
things never change.
Yes, it's so good. I like made up words, and I
was genuinely worried coming on here. I was like, I haven't been on a recording session in months. Here's the hoping I packed my spring shoes and they have enough zest to keep this flow going.
You got this. So now I got something here the games I picked, it kind of goes like this. Anime I have seen and played the game. Anime I haven't seen but played the game. And then anime I've seen but haven't played the game. So we're starting with the first one. That being, let's see. So the track name is Heart and Ugyur. And this is coming from Fist of the Northstar. 10 Big Brawls for the King of Universe.
That's a title.
Yeah, this is the Game Boy game.
They had a Game Boy game?
Yeah, I was like, that was my first time I ever heard of, well, yeah, I'll get into that once I get here. But this was composed by Tomoho Mitsuyasu.
He has a scenario in one of the recent arcs where he yanks a palm tree out of the ground, he gnaws the tree into a baseball bat and paints it, and then he uses it to knock back bombs. And it's straight out of a Tom and Jerry episode where Tom makes the dog gnaw a piece of wood into a bat, and he hits the dog with it. I was like, that's freaking awesome.
That's some wacky shit. That is some wacky shit.
That is gold.
Well, it was gold, like a heart. Heart gold. No, that was Heart and Ugyur from Fist of the Northstar. 10 Big Brawls for the King of Universe. It was by Tomoho Mitsuyasu. And this was on the Game Boy. And yeah, this was my first experience with Fist of the Northstar because it was right there on the name of the cartridge. And it's a, quick little aside here is that I've mentioned here before that my first console was a Sega Master System. And, the Sega Master System had a Fist of the Northstar game on it, though it was released here in the States as Black Belt. So one day I go to the local video store where they had Sega Master System games for sale, and, I saw Black Belt, and then they had another one called Ghost House. And for some reason my kid brain was like, I want to go with Ghost House. And that was not...
Well, Ghost House sounds pretty fun.
Yeah, it was kind of fun, but now, knowing about what Black Belt was, I kind of wish I went with that one. But anyway.
Well, think of it like this. Fist of the Northstar's had multiple games since then.
Yeah.
Even up to the present day. How many other Ghost House games have you seen that aren't Mario Brothers and Luigi's Mansion?
Yeah. And all I gotta say about Ghost House is the main game music is fantastic. It's nice and funky. But much like this track here. So like I was saying, I got this game for the Game Boy. I can't remember when or how, but I just have very specific memories of being in my bedroom, playing this game all the way to the end, and doing it a few times, though it was kind of hard because it's a little janky. But it was an interesting one. It's like a fighting game. You play as Kenshiro, going through all the different bad guys. So like you got Heart, you got Ugyur, you got what is it, Ryoga? I can't remember the names, but yeah, it has like all like the big bads. So I think the first main storyline. But I'm not too familiar with the Fist of the Northstar because I've only watched some of it, and most of what I know about it is just like through clips or through a lot of the memes or all the like art people make of it, like all the Fist of the Northstar characters as Pokemon characters or like Toho characters, all so like they're just like these big muscular men with like these chiseled faces, dressed in like just most ridiculous things, and that's
the funny thing is like with Fist of the Northstar, I'm positive I've seen it before, but I'm also positive I saw it during that era when I didn't know what anime was.
Yeah,
like it might have aired on HBO or some random network. And it was entertaining because, of course, it freaking was.
Yeah.
But I didn't put two and two together enough to remember enough about it. All I know is, of course, like you are, the memes and the video games and the general catchphrases. Like now, I think it's pretty appropriate that you play this on the Game Gear because you can go, your batteries are already dead.
No, this was on the Game Boy. I never owned a Game Gear.
Oh, crap, it's the Game Boy. I'm sticking with it anyway. The Game Boy had better battery life, though.
It stays in.
Keep it in. I'm not ashamed. Take it to the court.
I will take it to the court, the basketball court, which we don't have any of those games here, sir. So please.
That's right.
Please.
I mean, we could have put Slam Dunk on here. I'm sure there's a Slam Dunk game floating around somewhere.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm looking up that phrase, that quote from from Fist of the Northstar. You know that one. You're already dead.
Yeah.
But it goes, Omae wa mou shinderu. No, Omae wa mou shinderu. I don't know. I can't.
Have you ever played the arcade game?
No.
Oh my God, you should try it one day if you come across. I think round ones have them sometimes, but it's one of those games where you have the pads on the sides, like 5 on the left.
Oh, and you have to like punch it rapidly and stuff?
Yeah, so in the end, of course, just like his special moves, like it's like beating the pads. It's so great. That's right. It's like, wow. And people walk by while you're playing. It's like, I thought DDR was ridiculous. What the heck is this guy doing? Going to the gym.
You gotta get your workout somehow. Though, I think isn't there like a Switch workout game that is based off like Fist of the Northstar?
There is.
Yeah, so if I felt like it.
I think it even came to the States.
If I felt like it, I could go for that. I could.
Fitness boxing. Fist of the Northstar. It did come out in America.
So there it is. I just gotta dock it, get my Joy-Cons, and go for it if I feel like it.
Put those straps on. Put those straps on.
I don't know if I got.
That's
I don't
what
know if
they're
I
made
got
for.
the straps. I got them refurbished.
Oh boy. Pray for your TV. Pray for Mojo.
I don't got a TV. I just got a projector.
Pray for projector.
And it's 5 years old.
Really pray for projector. His back's going up.
Yeah, no, you can hear that fan just moaning. It's great.
Kill me. Kill me.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Sneeze tried to come through, but my nose wads are keeping it back. This is great.
Did you mention at the top of the show about the sinus bit?
Yeah, I mentioned that I have toilet paper up my nose to keep myself from leaking and sneezing. So that's why my voice may sound a little strange here. So, yeah.
Well, so far so good. I think you're doing pretty well.
Oh, thank you. But sir, we got us another track here from you. We got many a track here from you. But what we gonna go with?
All right, so this track actually was played on Rhythm and Pixels before, but yeah, I'm bringing it out here again because it references one of my all-time favorite animes. Also, one of my first animes that got me, shopping at the adult section of Suncoast Video for reasons that are unrelated to adult videos. This comes from the game Ranma 1/2 Hard Battle on the Super Nintendo. Track title is called Ryoga's Rooftop, and it's composed by Toshio Okamoto.
No, by leave, sir. No, we haven't even played 3 tracks and we're already 40 minutes in. This is rhythm.
There it is.
Becoming a Rhythm
That's
and
what
Pixels
happens
episode.
when you bring me on your show. That's what happens when you bring me on. We don't have a Rob to tone it down.
Oh jeez, I'm gonna tone it. I'm gonna bring it. I'm gonna tone it in. And here he is. So that was. Wait, what was that? That was Ryoga's Rooftop Battle or Rooftop. So I'm gonna do that again. Here you go.
I got you. This is Ryoga's Rooftop from the game Ranma 1/2 Hard Battle, released on the Super Nintendo Entertainment System, composed by Toshio Okamoto. The fighting game, I bought it, not new when it came out. I bought it later in the secondhand market, one of those rare cases where I jumped on something like that, because I just wanted to have the Ranma 1/2 game that came out in the States. Because by the time I realized what Ranma was and fell in love with the show, we were already up to the PS1 era, so it was a long dead console at that point. Ranma 1/2 is a show that holds a special place in my heart because it was the first anime, aside from maybe the Slayers at most, that I fell hard for. Fell legitimately hard for. I was going to the store, going to Suncoast Video, buying VHS copies of it. You had to pay $30 for 2 episodes on a VHS cassette.
Oh boy.
And since they didn't understand how to market Ranma 1/2 and stock it properly, it was in the adult video section. So I was only able to buy it because I looked older than I was and nobody carded me.
Okay, jeez.
It was ridiculous, and I had to tell friends, this is not a porn, I swear. This is an actual anime. This is art. This is art. This is not pornography. But the premise of Ranma 1/2, for those who don't know, is that it involves martial artists who are obsessed with crazy martial arts moves and yada, yada, yada. Main character and his dad go on a martial arts training trip to China, and they come across a location called Saikyou that is home for a variety of cursed springs. And when you fall into one of these ridiculous number of springs, you are cursed by taking on the form of the person who last drowned in the spring.
Oh, geez.
And Ranma falls in Spring of Drowned Girl. So whenever he's splashed with cold water, he becomes a girl. Yeah. And if he gets splashed with hot water, he becomes a guy. And his dad is a panda who holds up signs to talk. And throughout the show, they introduced more and more characters who fell into different springs through comedic means. And all the women love Ranma. All the guys love his fiancée Akane. It's, as the box says, it's a martial arts comedy of the sexes. It's really dopey and ridiculous, but I adore it. And I reference it to this very day by saying dumb things like ramen roundup noodle noose and anything goes martial arts podcasting, anything goes martial arts gaming, whatever it takes.
I don't know. I have very minimal experience with Ranma one half. I think I remember seeing like commercials for it on VHSs for anime that I would rent from Blockbuster or
Viz
or Hollywood Video, and I do remember seeing stuff art for it on the internet, some people referencing it or all this stuff, the whole thing about him going back and forth between a girl, guy, and the panda, but I never really was able to get into it because I never had a way to watch it.
It's still funny to me too. Maybe you ever have that problem where you want to recommend a show or a game to somebody, likely an old one. It has to be old for this to count. And you genuinely question if the show is actually funny still to a newcomer, or if it's only funny to you now because of nostalgia. That's how I feel about Ranma One Half, because I've watched episodes very recently, and I still laugh my ass off, or I get a bit of a grin across my face when certain things happen. Like Hoplosai is just ridiculously stupid as a character, and yet his antics always make me laugh, largely because the dub team behind that show did a spectacular job. They took liberties with that voice, with that dialogue, and made it sing.
I think that's the best, when a dub team has fun with it, not trying to be one-to-one, because I know a lot of people get upset about the dubisms and kind of people mistranslating it or not doing it verbatim, or not verbatim, but exactly. But I think that was kind of the part of the charm of a lot of those animes from the 90s, is just because they had no idea what was going on. They were just pumping it out. Some of them for the better, some of them maybe not for the better. It probably should have happened, but
my thing has always been, so long as the narrative comes through clearly and the dub work doesn't mischaracterize characters. As long as they get those two things right, I honestly don't really care, because I always kind of chuckled when people would get upset about a dub dropping a joke that's Japan-centric.
Yeah.
But if you got the actual Japanese joke, no one in America would get it because it's a very Japanese-rooted joke. So it's okay. And I think working designs from the video game angle, not so much the anime angle. Working designs took the majority of the brunt for this. And while I'm not going to disparage people in regards to some of the liberties they took with the game mechanics and flipping switches on damage inputs and nonsense like that, but I will say that their translations of Lunar and Lunar 2 probably were a large part of what made that game so appealing to me as a kid, because they made some stupid ass jokes that I'm positive were not in the actual game originally that made me laugh hard as a child. Like random townspeople talking about being on the Wheaties box for some reason. It made you want to talk to all the townspeople.
Yeah.
And I'm fairly positive that without those jokes, if they kept the authentic translation, it would have been some nonsense like, I want to be just like you, Alex, when I grow up, or the store sells cool goods. You should shop there. I don't care. It would be just like half the games I play now, where I just skip all the townspeople content because they ain't doing anything for me.
Yeah. Nah, nobody having fun no more, man.
And this is why Rob has such a major role on Rhythm and Pixels. He keeps us grounded.
Well, I got something that'll keep you grounded and me grounded. I don't know. We'll go Ghost.
But for how long? I got a concert in 2 weeks, and I can't be late. I have to be there.
You have to be there?
I have to be there.
Okay.
I can't be grounded for too long.
All right, so this is only going to ground you maybe for half a minute. So stick with me here. Stick with me here. All right, so I got here for you our next track coming from anime I never knew about until I downloaded the game and played it.
Yo, and a bottle of milk.
So this is Haunted Shopping Mall from Ghost Sweeper Mikami. Joshei wa Nice Body, and this is composed by Kinuyo Yamashita and or Hiroyuki Iwasuki. Developed by Natsume and published by Monolith.
So you were right.
Yeah, it is. I was right. I was right. And I was not wrong.
You weren't wrong. Right. Kinda right. Everybody's talking.
It's the information I should have been looking up before we recorded.
Well, where's the fun in that, right?
I don't know.
It's all about that. It's like, it's one of those on-the-fly, action-packed research, anything goes research antics.
And I tell you what, this game has some action-packed antics within it. That was Haunted Shopping Mall from Ghost Sweeper Mikami, Joshei wa Nice Body, composed by Kinuyo Yamashita and or Hiroyuki Iwatsuki. And yeah, this is that game that I never seen or knew about, but I played the game because I got it through a very specific place that had an English translation of it because it was only released in Japan, and I'm playing on a very particular little tiny handheld that happens to, you know, be you. It's very mini as well, but yeah, it's a strange one. So yeah, Ghost Sweeper Mikami is an anime where you play as this female exorcist. She's an it's like she's an exorcist detective and going through, like, you know, fighting ghosts and stuff. She has like a wooden sword she uses to fight in the game, and you either whack them or you get power-ups where you get like a projectile, so like a kind of like an energy slash or like a spread thing.
Oh, so she's also a gangster?
No, like, you know,
but they're whacking. They're whacking with
that stick that she be whacking. But yeah, let's see. I'm looking at. Okay, so like I was saying, that research I should have been doing beforehand that I'm doing now. I got a little bit of the plot here. So, overdevelopment and crowding in Japan has forced many of its indigenous spirits and ghosts to lose their homes. Due to the problems caused by homeless spirits, a new profession was created: the Ghost Sweepers. Private exorcists for hire, they serve only the highest bidder to survive in the cutthroat corporate world. Among this, the Mikami GS company, led by 31-year-old Ryoga Mikami and her 2 assistants, the 17-year-old boy Tadayo Yokoshima and the ghost girl Okinu, is said to be the best. So basically, yeah, so they're just a company that goes and exorcise ghosts that have been disturbed from their resting places because of overdevelopment, you know, that whole crazy time of lots of 80s monies, you know? Land sharks.
Oh, yeah.
So basically Frieza in human form, you know?
Dance monkey. Freaking Frieza. Terrible. Terrible character, but also a great character.
So that's what I know about, that's all I know about the manga, the show. It looks interesting, like the visual style, like the character designs, everything are really cool looking, because like Mikami herself is like these big eyes, kind of wild looking. Her hair is just like kind of.
At first, we both kind of thought that this was referencing that this was done by the guy who did Tenchi Muyo, because she looks like Ryoko.
Yeah, and then also I was also kind of thinking it was done by the same lady who done Yu Yu Hakusho and other things. Sorry, I spaced on it all of a sudden, but nope, not that person. Neither of them peoples. But
Yu Yu Hakusho?
Yu Yu Hakusho. There was
Hakusho?
Something like that, which we are not featuring on this episode whatsoever, unfortunately. But yeah, this game here, it is interesting. Like I said, it is an action platformer style game. You whack things with your wooden sword that gets like spiritual energy through it, and a lot of the enemies are pretty interesting looking. You face off like a bunch of different kind of spirits and ghosts and ghouls that come at you, and you gotta dodge them. You got doing jumping. And you actually can grab onto platforms, and you either have the option of swinging and kicking, which then you'll flip off and go onto the ground, or you can flip yourself up onto that platform to be able to get to other platforms. And the animation, it is pretty nice, though that makes it it's no wonder, because this game was developed by Natsume, which might also explain why the soundtrack sounds pretty dang good and familiar, because they're the same company that did the Power Ranger games, as well as, the Ninja Warriors, I want to say?
Well, I know that you pretty much nailed it to the letter, where you pretty much went and looked it up after the fact, but you're like, this totally sounds like a Natsume jam.
I know what I know, and what I do know is kind of idiot savantish. I don't know.
Idiot savantish. But not to maybe give this game just show a look-see, or maybe the game even, too. I'm curious about it, man.
Yeah, wait. There wasn't an English patch. I lied. I just, sorry, I was...
That's a platformer, so you don't really need the English. It's just... hop and bop.
There are little scenes, not cut scenes, but little scenes where the characters are talking to each other. But you don't get nothing because it's all in Japanese. Sorry, I misled people. There's no English patch that I found yet. It's just I was just going through games that I wanted to load up on my little handheld emulation thing.
Well, you gotta admit, Ghost Sweeper Mikami is about niche on top of niche right there. So for there to have been a patch there would have been pretty surprising.
I don't know. It looks funny though. It looks like it's one of those.
Oh, I'd play it.
It looks. Yeah, the show, I might check it out. I don't know. It looks like just one of those ones that's just kind of funny, and it's something rather way. Sorry, allergy brain is kind of weirding me out.
Have you played, even though it's not going to get referenced on the show proper, have you played Kendo Rage?
Kendo Rage?
Yes.
No.
So, it is a video game that got released on Super Nintendo that I bought back in the day and played it and enjoyed it. Similar gameplay vibe that you described with here, except for the whole flipping onto platforms bit. You even hunt ghosts while you fight enemies. You're beating up ghosts.
Ooh.
But it is also based on an anime called Makurenda Makendo that never came out in the States. And if you didn't go looking for it on your own time, you would have never realized that this was a video game and based off of an anime, because they just released it here, changed all the name references, changed the title of the game, and said, here's a game. So I'd say look it up. You might like it. Look up Kendo Rage. Yeah.
Okay.
I think you'll like it.
Well, speaking of Rage, I believe we're coming up on your another track of yours here that has a very particular gentleman's rage within it.
That's correct. Actually, I'm glad you put it there, because I was hoping, man, I'm going to go with this because I have to. So this track comes from a video game that I've never played, but my brother played it to death.
I played it.
And whereas I love the anime it's inspired by, my brother, when he played the game, had never heard of the anime and never watched it after playing through the game. This comes from the game Sword of the Berserk, Guts' Rage, originally released on the Sega Dreamcast. The track title is called Adhesion of Blood and is composed by Susumu Hirasawa.
Susumu Hirasawa.
cannon arm. So what you are listening to here is Adhesion of Blood from the game Sword of the Berserk Guts' Rage for the Sega Dreamcast, composed by Susumu Hirasara. And while I'm on that topic, I'm going to say rest in peace to the original author of the manga, Kentaro Moira, who passed away a few years ago. Fortunately, to my recollection, they are continuing the show because he gave the manga, because he gave all the details to what he wanted it to do to his best friend at the time. So I read up to right before they get to Elfheim.
I have not read the manga. I have not actually seen. I've only seen a little bit of the OVA through clips, like the original '90s OVA. I've never watched the recent, like 5-6 years ago, that CG animated one. My only real exposure, my first initial exposure and real exposure to Berserk was this game, which I got for my Dreamcast.
Damn.
And
I will say, I think a lot of people had that same story too, where it was like, what the hell is this game? A Dreamcast game?
It's a weird game. That's all I could say. I've said it multiple times already. I'll say it again, because I guess the story of this one isn't canon. It's like the main villain in this game doesn't show up in the manga, I think. And he's an interesting looking guy, has a huge mane of hair, white and red, looks like a lion, but his name is very unforgettable, very much like how his face looks. And that happens to be BALZAC.
BALZAC.
Yes, BALZAK. BALZAC.
I will say also that the story I will say, depending on how you can stomach, dark fantasy, you might not be able to handle some of the narrative arcs that it takes in the manga or the anime. But if you can,
I understand it gets pretty brutal.
Oh, it totally does. It not even gets brutal. It starts brutal and just gets worse. But it's also so damn good. Like it's one of those cases where it wasn't my usual cup of tea, but in the end, it did its job, and I was like, wow, this is amazing. So much so, like, oddly enough, we were at a beach house on like a bit of a friend vacation last summer, and for whatever reason, somebody just got the bright idea to watch Berserk again. And it started out with just like 2 people watching it, but by the last 5 or so episodes, everybody in the beach house just stopped everything and started watching Berserk.
Dang.
And it still holds up. Like, it's still entertaining. It's still good. And it amazes me that even though One Piece has a ridiculous number of episodes and it's been running as long as it has, Berserk has actually been running even longer than that.
Yeah.
It's an old manga. But it's so damn good.
I know, like, the art in it alone is just amazing.
It's phenomenal artwork in that manga. And the game actually probably has good artwork too, now I think about it.
Yeah, it actually looks pretty good. Like, Dreamcast games usually have like this very, I don't know, it's hard to explain just like how Dreamcast games look. It's just very appealing and, just inherently good. Something feels right about it. I don't know, it's weird. It's just, I don't know how to, it's just a very inexplicable feeling of rightness with the Dreamcast.
I just missed the damn Dreamcast.
I still got mine.
Good man.
And I think I still have this game too.
Good man.
I've been thinking about actually breaking it out and, playing it with my nephew because, he's starting to get a little older and he might be able to play, might want to get into some of those things. Like, I have Sonic Shuffle. I don't know if he'd be happy playing it, but it's Sonic and he loves Sonic.
I would say the one thing that gets really dicey about breaking out the Dreamcast is, playing 3D games on there now compared to how it was back then, because you gotta remember the Sega Dreamcast did not have twin sticks. It had one stick and a cross pad, which means camera work was frustrating.
Oh yeah,
very frustrating in most 3D games. So like Sonic Adventure on those things, woof. I loved them back then. It's hard to go back to them now. I'd appreciate a remake. It would be easy money for Sega if you think about it. They just did like a 1-2 pack they remake, or just do one of them. Sonic Adventure remake. And it's just the same game, but with better camera angles, retooled graphics, a few more stages,
keep
less cheesy dialogue.
Keep the original English dub in that, please.
Why would you do that?
I don't know, because it's hilarious.
Froggy!
Okay, Froggy, one more time.
Oh, that's actually really good. That's very good.
Whoa!
Sonic. Oh, mercy. Yeah, I loved the Dreamcast. It was a good machine. It did its job.
Oh, yes.
And I miss it so.
Yes. No, like I said, I've been thinking about possibly breaking it out and trying this game again, like, since you brought it up, because I could not get past this one particular boss. I don't remember his name. It just looked like this giant dog demon, and there's, like, this burning village around it, and for some reason, I just couldn't figure out how to beat him. It's just, like, every time I got close enough, he just takes me down, and so...
It was probably Zod. Did he have two big, or rephrase, did he have one big horn?
Yeah, one big horn and one that was, like, kind of broken off, you know, yeah.
Yeah, that was Zod. That was totally Zod.
Oh, man. Kneel before Zod.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. Well, sir, I got something here that I have seen, and that I really enjoyed, and I need to eventually go back and finish it and see the second season of it, because when I was watching it, there was no second season. And that is Blue Seed. And what I got here is Battle BGM from Blue Seed Kushinada Hirokuden. So that was Battle BGM from Blue Seed Kushinada Hirokuden, composer unknown. And yeah, this, like I said, this is an anime that I watched, like when I was mentioning renting stuff from Hollywood Video. This is one, like a series that I would rent from there constantly. Like, I remember the first time I rented it, and I was like blown away by what I was seeing, because like it was not like uber violent, but there was like some like blood stuff going on, a little bit of body horror stuff kind of going on, but not like extreme, like Legend of the Overfiend.
Yeah, that's iconic right there. Hospitals will never be the same.
No. But yeah, no, I enjoyed this because it was like I said, not like anything I'd ever seen before, because I had been watching things like Dragon Ball and like Outlaw Star, Tenchi Muyo. But this was like so the story was kind of confusing to me, because like there's like the main female character, Momiji Fujimiya, I guess is kind of like I don't know if she's like a reincarnation of something or has like some special abilities, but is related to these things called like Magitama, which are like the blue seeds of the that are titled in the anime.
Oh, that's the title. Duh.
It's right there in the title, guy. But yeah, it's like these things grant like powers, and there's like forces trying to get them all, like trying to get them, and I think she has one. And then there's this character. What is his name? He's kick-ass. So yeah,
that's his name now. He can't change it.
No, she's referred to as Kushinada, and is referring to like the Japanese mythology
AKA
stuff.
kick-ass.
Not knowing that the vines are being okay. So yeah, Orochi is like the big bad here, But oh god, hold on. I'm losing. Where am I at?
When in doubt, just fall back on kick ass.
Okay, I can't remember the names of these characters anymore. It's been so long since I watched it. But yeah, there's this cool guy with green hair. He has like a magatama in his fist, and he he has like these really thin slit eyes. He's a really awesome, cool guy, and he's able to pull out like these crazy like bone root looking blades out of his arms. And then when he really goes into full power, his whole body like turns into like these like the one guy from Yu Yu Hakusho where he has like the huge shoulder things going on. He has like the veins and stuff going on. It's kind of like that, but green. And
okay, so he's eco-friendly.
Yeah, and it's just about this, Momiji. Sorry, I'm totally losing the plot here. But anyway, just that all to say, I like the anime, and when I found out there was a game for it, I was kind of excited because I found it like a year and a half ago or so when I was trying to look up like music from anime, like games with like games based on anime of ones that I liked, and I found this. But then I couldn't find any music for it, and this is the only track I could find that's uploaded on YouTube, other than the opening theme, which is Mysterious Tokyo. Mysterious Tokyo, something about Dangerous Nights, Mysterious Tokyo, Foxy Night Games, and that's where I learned the word Aoi means blue.
Oh, okay. Now you gotta remember.
But this game here is Japan only, no English translation, but it's an RPG of sorts, like top-down sprite-based. But in battles, it's card-based, and the actions are represented with the animated little scenes. So, like, it'll show, like, the monster either getting hit or attacking, and then it'll show the character that you're playing as either attacking, getting hit, or, all the different actions and stuff. So that was kind of cool. Like, it was done in the...
So would you say it's more akin to, like, how, like, a Super Robot Wars attack sequence would take place?
I'm not familiar with
something like out of a PC Engine game? It'd be just like a line will come across the screen and it'll have like the character.
No, it's just the total like the screen's black. You have your like character like portraits. And then you have like their status and then the cards they have. And then when you do the action, just a screen will pop up. It'll show like the things going on.
Okay.
And then it'll go back to just that generic looking screen.
Yay.
But I was kind of disappointed that there isn't really, like I said, this is the only song I could find that was uploaded anywhere. This is on YouTube. And the other one was like the compressed version of the anime's opening song. And that's it. Nobody has ripped this soundtrack that I could find anywhere. I don't know if it's just hard to do or nobody has taken the time. I tried to figure out, but it required a lot of...
I think the world's...
A lot of weird...
I think the world's waiting for a hero. I think the world's waiting for you.
I tried. There's just a lot of weird esoteric programs and programming stuff that I don't know how to do is required, and so I gave up as soon as I started. So yeah, I am from here to zero.
At this point, I guess you'll now be walking across your state from north to south, hoping that the next town you stop in has a person capable of ripping this fantastic, majestic OST.
Yeah, I mean, like going off by this music here, I want to hear the rest of it without any like dialogue going on about it or sound effects and stuff going around it. So because. Yeah, you can't deny this is some good stuff right here. This is like peak, like mid 90s.
Oh, I'm digging it.
CD quality audio. Yeah,
I'm very much digging it. There's no denial coming from this house.
What is that little guy?
Oh, it's my little spinny pin. The problem is it just broke recently, so I got to glue it back down. But I can still spin it, and it doesn't pop out.
It's got spinny and it's got little wobblies on it. What is it? Look at him go! Look at him go! Holy
I love this pin. This is a fantastic ink pen. It's so great. Little frilly-haired man. It's like Carrot Top, but actually, entertaining.
Yes. And won't give you nightmares.
That is correct.
All that to say that Blue Seed, I need to go watch it again because I totally fumbled trying to explain it. But I got to say, it's a cool anime. Definitely check it out. It's a lot of panty shots, though. It's that, unfortunately... panty shots galore. I have one very specific memory. There's a character in there that made a program that predicted which panties Momiji is wearing that day. And it guessed correctly because he's a pervert.
That was the era of fan service in a nutshell, though I don't think it's much better now.
Of course, me being an adolescent boy was like, panties? Whoa! Whoa! Because that kind of
that
stuff.
hasn't changed. You ain't fooling anybody.
I don't know. But
I'm
going from one blue thing to another, sir, you asked me to hold this one back until the end because it has very specific reasons for that, yes?
Yeah, which is kind of interesting because when I picked the track that came before this, I didn't realize till after I picked it that it fills a similar niche. But unlike the other tracks in this episode, this is an anime that was brought on by the video game, not the other way around. And I've also never seen the anime, but I love the game. So I'm going to play this track. This comes from the game Blue Dragon. The track is titled as Cavern, and it's composed by Nobuo Uematsu. So this comes from the game, or rather rephrase that, you just listened to the GIMP track Cavern from the game Blue Dragon, released on the Xbox 360, composed by Nobuo Uematsu, a game that eventually inspired an anime based on the game, and then a follow-up anime based on events after the game. Rest in peace, Akira Toriyama, who did the artwork for the characters and the artwork for the anime as well.
Yeah. Oh man.
Blue Dragon is one of those games that it actually makes me sad that it didn't do well in the grand scheme of things. I'll admit Maru is a terrible character and I don't like him. But with that aside, and it's not that his character's bad, just his voice is great. But anyway, the thing about it is like the game, for all intents and purposes, should have done well. It had the whole kids on an adventure with the random semi-adult character that's there to keep them on their toes, being the pirate Zola. It had a class system that was pretty legit, and it had pretty much the Final Fantasy magic system in there.
Okay.
And a good, I guess, a job system and a good magic system, and all the characters could be built up to fulfill specific roles. There was party character swapping. The artwork was fantastic. The music was fantastic. I honestly don't know what went wrong, which is why I blame Maru.
It was released on the Xbox 360. That's where it went wrong.
But there lies the rub, right? Like, people will say...
Or I should say it was released exclusively on the Xbox 360 instead of being released, having, like, multiple system release.
But that's what makes it interesting to me, right? Like, I feel like there have been games that have been system sellers otherwise, right? Like, the game that says, I want to play this enough to buy that console. I feel like Blue Dragon would have been a game that I would have bought the Xbox to play back then. At that point, I already had an Xbox 360 for other reasons, but I would have bought it for Blue Dragon. So, and I've seen systems that did sell for games that I'm like, people, you bought a PS3 for that game? Or you bought a Wii for that game? But, it shocked me that this game didn't sell to RPG people in that sense. It had the powerhouse team going for it.
Yeah, I remember when this was initially getting released, that I saw the commercials for it, I saw like the ads for it and stuff, and immediately the first thing that jumped out is, Akira Toriyama's art style, because first thing because at that time when I saw it, I was like, Dragon Ball, whoa, because that's all I knew really at the time. But like I was telling you, I didn't own a 360. I never owned an Xbox system ever, so of course never could play this game.
Well, at least they're backwards compatible. You get an Xbox of any form at this point, you could play Blue Dragon still. So if you got an Xbox One, as in not a Series X, but an Xbox One, or a Series S, or a Series X, or a 360, you could play this game. It was recently on sale for $6. So keep that in mind should you decide to play this game or the other RPGs that are on the Xbox 360 era. You could always get one of any system in the line from 360 up and likely play all of them.
Wow, okay. That's cool to know. Oh, man. But yeah, what was I going to say? Sorry, allergy
I
brains
totally
hit me
understand.
again.
And I also got you up way past your bedtime over there on the other coast.
No, right now it's like 8:40 for me right now. Because for you, it's...
Oh, so if anything, you got me up past my bedtime.
Yeah, though I couldn't tell. You have very much a lot of energy.
Oh, shucks. You flatter me.
Ooh, I aim to please. I aim to please. But I don't know. I don't know where that came from.
Fun. It came from fun.
Yes. Which, I'll tell you something fun. Akira Toriyama was a fun guy.
Yes, he was.
Yeah.
We were talking on the break about how he has a self-insert character in Blue Dragon.
Yeah, in the form of Toribo, which is basically his avatar or persona, Toribot, which is just the little robot guy with the gas mask. Usually it looks like he's wearing like a tracksuit or something like that, but yeah.
Yep, he's wearing a tracksuit, and it's amazing because at the time I didn't know about this. I just knew there's this really cool robot that you could talk to, and he sells you like special items using like collectible goods. And I'm like, wow.
That sounds about right.
He even gets his own theme. This robot is amazing.
Yeah, which that theme, only reason I know this is because I found that theme and played it on my Toriyama tribute I did shortly after the news came out that he had passed away, which, yeah, was kind of like, didn't hit me as hard as I, hit others.
Mm-hmm.
But still, it was like, really the fact that, this man that had like created something that I still love today, because like Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z is like,
it's still going.
It's one of the things that like I still go back to from my childhood, like before I was a preteen even.
Mm-hmm.
It's like because like either the original show or through like Dragon Ball Z Abridged, like reawakened my interest in it, and then like things like Dragon Ball Super was coming out, and then the movies came out.
Well, it's worth noting that the whole thing still holds up because it is essentially the grandfather of shonen manga and style. Like, some people will deny that. They'll say, well, cartoon characters have fought before Dragon Ball, and they're not wrong, but
the way how Toriyama did it,
the way he did it became iconic. How many games can you think of? How many shows can you think of where the characters went Super Saiyan or Super something?
Yeah.
And just embodied the style of light glowing around them, hair changing color and shape.
Even before that, with the original Dragon Ball manga, it was all about the martial arts, and his, the way how he choreographed the fights and that was, amazing. And then also in mixing the comedy in it as well, because it was an action comedy.
And I love the comedy
and then,
combat.
Of course, before that, which, I've only within the last few years kind of come to more familiar with, is the Dr. Slump series, and that was, a game changer as well with, the comedy, the style, it helped it was a big influence on the chibi style and stuff.
But the other thing I like about it is the fact that he actually did merge, well, at least the anime did, merge those two universes. And the thing about it is that in Dragon Ball, that's how they met. Because in Dragon Ball, the original, he goes to Penguin Village and she's there. So it's just awesome how it's hey, he just combined his two works into one, and then they decided to reference it in Dragon Ball Super. And I've actually seen people on the internet complaining about that episode. I'm like, man, you need to learn your freaking roots.
What the hell? Because that's not to get man, we're getting into it here, because that's the one thing I kind of don't understand is how people, because I know Dragon Ball Z was coming out with a lot of us were in our preteens or teenage, this our formative years, and we were maybe some of us get really angsty, and then we see Dragon Ball Z and it's violent, actually, because a lot of us don't have the context of Dragon Ball before this, and the first thing that happens is the main character Goku, who's set up to be the main character, dies with a giant hole in his chest. And first thing off, it is what? And so that kind of sets the tone for a lot of fans to want to have that action and violence and seriousness and stuff. But the origins of Dragon Ball is set in just silliness. The first arc of it, is based off the Journey to the West, and not, it's kind of figuring itself out. But then after that, it really picks up the martial arts, the comedy, the everything about it, and just the fact that Dragon Ball Super is kind of mixing the two. Mixing the the action of Dragon Ball Z, but also bringing back the comedy and kind of slice of life stuff.
I always laugh.
Dragon Ball.
I had very hazy memories of the original Dragon Ball because I watched it when I was probably 8 or 9 years old. It was a long time ago because it was airing on in syndication. It was either a movie or small bits of episodes. No, it was definitely small bits of episodes because I saw the end of the Emperor Pilaf episodes during this time, and I still remember.
Okay.
Of all the things I forgot about the show, I still remember when Oolong stopped Pilaf from making his wish. He goes, Emperor Pilaf goes, I wish for ultimate, and then Oolong goes, comfort, and a glorious pair of women's underwear. It's he wishes for.
I wish for panties.
Pretty much.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah, Toriyama had a little pervy side there, so
The underwear that saved the world.
Yes, but that all to say that. Stop taking yourself so seriously when it comes to Dragon Ball, please.
Yeah, it's not worth it. The show is good.
It's fun.
They have enough action in it. And the other thing that's interesting about the Dragon Ball premise or concept is the fact that we were talking earlier about how the dubs and the subs combine to work together, how they work against each other sometimes, how the US dub had Goku out to be this extremely competent person who was also a really good fighter, whereas now that people are watching Super and they're seeing how his dub is more authentic to his original character, they're why did they make Goku so stupid? It's he was always pretty stupid.
Well, he's always been he's a country bumpkin, but he's he's got super high battle intelligence. But when it comes to everything else, he's just a bumpkin dingus, man. It's great. It's kind of funny. But speaking of the dubs, of course my introduction was through the Ocean dubs with the first Saiyan and first half of Frieza Saga. So part of me kind of prefers those voices over the Funimation dubs, even though the quality of it has really gone up over the years. But still, my favorite Vegeta is a tussle between Brian Drummond's Vegeta from the Ocean dubs and Lana Pator of Team 4-Star, like his Vegeta. Because Drummond's Vegeta is like this sinister, almost like really menacing kind of sound. But then like Lanny's Vegeta is just like this bombastic, full of himself asshole. That just like, it's great. I don't know. So yeah, it's between those two.
I still just have memories of the original dub. Like I've never had issues with any of the dubs I've seen, but my nostalgia and comfort, feel good vibes stick with the original dubs. I don't know if it was because of this episode or just because I was in the mood to look it up, but I was researching today the original voice actors for Bulma. Because everything I read mentioned somebody that was absolutely not Bulma on the original show. And it turns out there was another woman who was on there that most of the sites don't even reference. So I'm like, I'm pretty sure there was a different Bulma before. I think it was like Monica Reel or something. I was like, there was totally like one or two before her. Yeah. I'm like, well, who was that? I don't remember who it was. And I was able to find them. But yeah, Dragon Ball... Even though I am very much in the camp of people that like to make fun of how drawn out the Namek saga was because of how they aired the episodes before Cartoon Network came along.
Yeah.
I still feel like it was an iconic part of my childhood.
Oh, yeah.
It was an iconic part of my teen years.
Yep.
And it holds up as being peak action anime, even though other shows have come along and improved upon it.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that Dragon Ball is less of a show. In fact, I would say that Dragon Ball did a little bit to improve on even itself because of the Tournament of Power in Dragon Ball Super. I feel like that did a lot.
I know that one's kind of a contentious thing because like some people really like it, some people really don't like it. There's like Jiren. Jiren is a big kind of.
What, they don't like Jiren?
Yeah, a lot of because there's a lot of reasons. Some people really like it because he's like the super powerful guy. Like think about it also because he's just like almost a non-character. He's just the wall of all walls type character without really any attitude. But
that's fine.
But yeah, that's
which is fine by me. He just needs to get his ass beat. I don't care otherwise. His sole purpose is for people to beat him up.
But like I said, like I actually saw like Dragon Ball Super Broly and Dragon Ball Super Superhero in theaters when those came out, and I really enjoyed them. I mean, they were amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to Dragon Ball Daima, which is coming up here soon, which is kind of like, again, going back to how Dragon Ball was, because
they all become kids for some reason.
Kids again, and I think you get into the demon realm side of things, like, the going into the demon world, because...
Ooh.
And it's like, the last project of Toriyama that he was involved with, other than like the latest chapter of Dragon Ball Super.
Also Sandland.
Oh yeah, Sandland's coming up too, and the game. There's the show and the game. Yes.
Yep. So his legacy's going to run a little longer with a little bit more new content, so I'm pretty sure that means Sandland is going to blow up.
Yeah, so. All that to say, Blue Dragon.
Hey,
yeah.
I think it's fair to say there's not a ton to say about Blue Dragon. Just that you should play the game because it is fun. Okay. I can't speak for the game, the Nintendo DS game because I bought it and barely touched it, but I played the living daylights out of the 360 game. So, very good game. It has an obsession with poo because also there's another thing Akira Toriyama had with his art was weird pink spirals of poo, but it's still just really fun.
Okay. No. Yeah, there's a lot of games I need to like check out because I missed entire generations between like the PS2 and now.
You have a good circle of friends to help you with that.
Yeah. I got my Cycle of Fwen. I may or may not get a Steam Deck, which will give me access to some of these games that are released on Steam and other means.
Do it. I will recommend the Steam Deck to anybody who will hear it. It is a game changer in all the right ways, and I have no shame in saying it. It outright changed my outlook on how I deal with video games. And it sounds weird that I even say that, like almost like I'm a shill for the company. But I'm like, no, it really did. You can ask anybody.
I'll ask you. I did. Thank you.
Well, there you go. If I'm one thing, I'm a man who tells the truth, or like it is, or both.
Pernell, thank you for coming in. and talking anime, kind of weebing out, though, like I said, my allergy brain failed me a couple times.
Yeah, you were a great time. It was
weird
fun.
all over the place.
I
went all over the place.
Well, let's be honest. You do that anyway. You do that anyway. That's not new. But thanks for having me on, and thanks for letting me, flex my chops and make sure they're not completely rusted shut. So
yeah, getting you ready for Papa Rob.
Rabula.
I have a Rob. Yeah, I have two Robs. I have a Rob W and a Rob M, and my phone has them confused. So when I go and call one, it calls the other.
Ooh, spicy.
Yeah.
But this was a lot of fun,
Yeah, it
and
was.
honestly, the conversation was very easy to have, very relaxed and mellow. And considering that it's like midnight here right now,
Oh dang.
clearly I'm still firing on something, largely due to the fact that we've been having fun chatting.
Hell yeah. Oh no, this is I think just what I needed to. I was like I said, I was really looking forward to it when we finally got the time set. It was like, all right, yes, I have something to look forward to the end of the week. This is gonna be one of my highlights. Which I saw one of those actually when I was at the store the other day. I thought they were done.
Highlights for children?
Yeah, the highlight magazine things. Yeah, for the kids.
Those things were amazing. It had Goofus and Gallant, and the picture
They're still
fine.
going. Yeah, because I saw it. I saw a magazine with cover that was looked familiar, and I saw the title. I was like, holy shit, that's still going? Damn.
That's
okay.
right. I mean, the day highlights for children dies the day that children's gossip dies, and I don't want to think about that.
Oh, no.
Children will always have highlights.
Yes. Oh, but damn it.
F.
It happened again. So, Pernell, tell the folks where they can find you.
So the show is currently on hiatus, but it may or may be. It should be coming back at some point in the. I don't even want to say near future because I don't know. I know Rob has to build the studio and whatnot, but nonetheless, there are still over 300 episodes of the show you can still listen to. So by the time you've caught up, we'll have another 300 episodes.
300 episodes.
Check us out at www.rhythmandpixels.com. We're also on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and wherever fine podcasts are sold. You can also check me out on the SML podcast where I do game reviews that are absolutely not professional, but I do enjoy talking about video games, and I get a large part of my fix from doing it there. So the SML podcast is on Twitter. Not Twitter. It is on Twitter, but it's also on Spotify as well. And probably other places, but I know Spotify for sure.
Okay, yeah.
I sometimes, very, very rarely, write for HeyPoorPlayer.com. I'm trying to get back into that, but life is stupid hectic and busy. And video game reviews are not short, and neither are the writing of those reviews, which is why I write them very rarely. But when I do, I put them on HeyPoorPlayer.com.
Nice.
And that's pretty much the gist of it. Also, I guess check out our Discord. Even though the show hasn't been going on, I like to talk about video games. So if you come in there and talk video game shop or just goofy pop culture stuff, I'm all in. So just come and have
always
a gab.
something going on in there because every time I'll not forget to check it for a while, and then when I get back on, there's been whole conversations going on. I was like, what is happening? Unlike my Discord, which
That's
I'm trying to do my best to interact
jump
with that,
in.
but that's another story for another day.
It's difficult. It's very challenging. And there's no refuting that. People who get that organic, constant stream of dialogue and conversation, they pulled off some magic. So, because it's not easy to do.
But sir, again, thank you for coming into the shop and weebing out.
Thank you for having me in the shop, and I'm also glad the guard dog didn't bust down the door and start gnawing at our ankles.
That is a good thing, and that's thanks to a couple basement dwellers here. Their presence kind of drives away most critters, but thankfully they don't drive away people. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to have fun conversations with folks like Pernell. So again, thank you for coming in, and I will be linking everything that you can find him in the show notes. And also, I'd like to thank all of you for turning in and not being freaked out by the basement dwellers. Some of you may know, some of you may not. Go check out the backlogs if you're totally befuddled by what I'm talking about. Though the one that'll give you all the answers you need would be episode 42. And this would not be the first time that Pernell was on the show. That episode would be episode 60, Bargain Bin Games. So check that one out. That is a blast. So now you may be wondering, where can I find these episodes you keep referring to? Well, you can find them on Spotify, Apple Podcast, YouTube, as well as on the main website, vgemporium.wordpress.com, and TerraPlayer, which is an excellent hub for all kinds of video game related podcasts. And if you'd like to follow VG Emporium, you can check it out on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook And there's also a Discord where you can hang out with fellow shoppers as well as leave feedback or suggestions and special orders, which is a song request, which once I get enough of those, like 5 or 6, I'll do its own dedicated episode. And you can also send those to the email bgemporium@gmail.com, as well as any other messages that you'd like to get to me. And of course, I've been your host, Rage Cage, and you can also follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, where I've been sharing a lot of music I've been making over the last few weeks because I've been doing weekly beats. And if you'd like to check out other music I've made, I do have a SoundCloud and Bandcamp, all under Rage Cage, RAYJKAYJ. So now, what do I have for you coming up next week? Well, I was kind of looking through one of my catalogs that I order from, this one being VGM Rips, and a couple titles kind of grabbed my eye, and I sampled them a little bit, and I really liked what I heard, so we're going to do a focus on 2 OSTs, Mahjong Fantasia and If. It's some pretty interesting stuff.